How's this go? Alright, Twitch. And I'm not on the right sound. Alright, here we go. Now we're... Okay. I think the music might be too loud. Oh, that's just from here. Alright, I hope this is good. Let me know if it's not, please. And YouTube. Is YouTube gonna chill out? Get started? Gonna... There we go. Alright, I think we're firing on all cylinders. Or on a cylinder at least. So, today I'm going to do some work on the Project 9x9 stuff. And one of the things I need to work on is being able to customize SudokuPad. And part of that customization is going to be disabling some of the features. And I think I have a spreadsheet somewhere. But that spreadsheet is not very complete, so I'm just not going to worry about that at the moment. So today I'm just going to kind of start poking around things and kind of get my head around what needs to be doing. I know I can customize settings pretty much. I mean, that's just UI, really. I do it in the apps. But one of the main things we need to customize for this, or be able to, is the actual tools. So, for example, no corner marks, and I'm guessing no color tool. Now, the tools are added quite early, and they're quite early in the startup phase. And they're also quite fundamental to the app. So I can visually hide the tool probably easy enough. But the question is, you know, what makes the most sense? Do we just want to hide the tool? Is that enough? And we don't mess with the functionality, because the advantage of that is obviously that any replay data that includes tool stuff will work properly, right? So that might be all we want to do. But that might might cause some issues with hotkeys and things like that. And we want to see, do you want hotkeys? Because, for example, the ZXCV hotkeys at the bottom of the keyboard, they go in the order of the buttons. But if I just hide a button, obviously, that hotkey will just sort of skip. Which may or may not be what we want, right? Now, the tools are here. Except these aren't... Except for the color tool, these aren't sort of the fundamental tools. I think they are under app features, app settings, somewhere. So let's see. Or they might even be included by default. Yeah, they might just be hard-coded in, actually. So if I go here... main tool... Button row, control tool. No, they're not. Okay, so they are probably added by controls tools here. I see. So in theory, let's see. So let's say tool color. Right. So I should be able to say, let's make this a bit bigger. So if I go frame work dot remove tool corner, what happens? And now if I press space, oh, okay. Okay, that already behaves pretty well. So that's actually, now if I add it back in, I'm guessing it'll be out of order. Yeah. Can we change the order of the tools? Probably. We should be able to. So let's have a quick look at framework. Add tool. Add tool button. So what does add tool button do? It does an add control button.
It creates an element.
It waits for the app object. It checks if the button exists. It creates the element. It parents. So probably. So the easiest thing probably would be to remove the tools and re-add them. But I'm not sure if the tool that's passed in is a tool I can reuse, right? So when we are saying add tool, ops ops.tool, ops.button, ops.tool. So if I say tool corner, it has a button and a tool. Ah, it does both. Am I recording this ops object anywhere? I don't think I am. So that's kind of the problem, because I was thinking like, can I get a record of those 4 things, remove them, and then put them back in? And I don't think I can. So for example, the ops.init function, we're not holding on to that, which is a little silly. Which means like, but wait a second, how does a remove control button work? It just removes the thing completely, but we can't re-add it. So, maybe for the buttons, yeah, what do we need? Buttons. Yeah, so for example, name and title would not be available. So, okay, so we'd have to record the things we're adding. That is if we want to build a generic tool chain and we want to improve framework. And we might want to do that down the line, but probably it's not the first thing we need to do. Initially, it's probably good enough because, you know, we know exactly which tools we're dealing with and we have references to those. And this goes into the script here, and it goes to add tool. Like here. And this records the tools at least. So if I go to framework.app.tools, those we can sort of remove, and that is for the hotkey stuff. So we'd want to remove and be able to re-add. And potentially insert. Okay. This wasn't well thought out back in the day. But what I could potentially do is I could probably create a function that I can just tell which tools in which order. And then it'll just creates that setup. So it removes whatever there is. All right, so let's write a bit of JavaScript here. We'll make a little function here, just so we have something we can paste into the console to test some stuff with, right? So this thing is just a little cell, like a little closure, right? So let current tools equals framework.app.tools object.values object.keys. If I just want to get the tool names, right? So if I say tool names and I output tool names, right? That should get me the names that are currently installed, basically, and in the order there are. So the question is, can I accept an array like this and configure the tools in that fashion? And to do that, I'd basically have to remove the tools and then, you know, reinsert them, right? So let's create a function. We're gonna call it like set tools, and currently I'm just going to worry about the 4 main tools. When we have optional tools, that's going to be a different story. But for this specifically, this would be prior to pen tool and all this other stuff. So we'll get a list of tools, right? And then and we make a few little mini mini thingies. Mini, what's the word? Mini, like a little library of thingies, right? So get tools is just this. So it just returns get tool names, right? So we're gonna do set tools, and then we'll do get tool names, right? And we're gonna do set tools to test. Let's do them in a weird order. So we're gonna set tools. We'll have center followed by normal, for example, right? And if I run that, it just should output more or less what we just had. Okay, and we need a reference to the existing tool setup, right? And add tool does the button as well. Okay. So and we'll do them by name, right? So we have normal, like that, and then we'll just do that, right? And unfortunately, that still has the British spell. What a mix. What a mix. So. Oh, hey, Lapis. Thank you. It was alright. I was very happy with the response I got for the donations. That was really awesome. Unfortunately, I'm in a bit of a stressy work mode at the moment, so I found it hard to relax. I tried actually hard to not work too much, and then I almost missed a bunch of meetings that I had forgotten to cancel. It's my fault for having birthday on a Thursday. Alright, so, if we want to change them, we want to first remove them. And to remove them, we have to remove the buttons, and then have to be able to re-add them, right? So if we say tools, and we'll do tool names, we'll do tool names dot map name tools name, like that, right? And I'm gonna make this a little bit compact just because I'm gonna keep pasting it, and pasting a large block of text is a bit annoying. Right. Yeah, it's just, unfortunately, like, it's weird because on the one hand I'm super grateful and it's super awesome and it's like, you know, people don't have to do that and all that. On the other hand, obviously people shouldn't have to do it, and I kind of need, I roughly need that amount of money twice a week to make the whole thing sustainable. So, and obviously I can't ask people for it twice a week. But I want to look into it maybe, because considering I ran a similar campaign like not too long ago, a month or two ago, I'm wondering if maybe I can run a campaign like once a month to like new users only, people who haven't seen the previous campaign, and it won't be too annoying. Like, only send it to, or maybe just campaign to people who've solved their 10th puzzle or something like that, you know? And just, like, they see it once or twice and that's it. I don't know. We'll see. Alright, so that should map the names back into tool objects. Yeah, and just the center norm. So we should be able to remove them as well. So, so we should be able to do something like let current tools equals get tool names. And we should be able to map the tool names to the tools, right? So we'll just do that. Dot map, yada yada. Like that. And then we should be able to remove those and then add in the new ones. Current tools, let current tools, oh, okay. Not a function, smart pants. So we've got the current tools, tool color. Why is only two color? That's weird. Ah, because that's an actual plugin type object. Okay, well, let's see. So we should be able to now go current tool. So for const, so we should have button tool of current tools. And we can probably skip that. We should be able to framework dot remove button, and then is it framework dot remove tool? Remove tool. So remove tool, remove control button, remove control button. Ah, so we can just do remove tool. And then it'll do the refresh controls. Okay, so it's actually, some of this work has already been done for us. That's good to know. So we'll be able to do remove tool. And we'll actually want the name here. Okay, so let tool name, let's say current names equals get tool names. And we'll skip that for now. Framework for tool name of current names. Framework to remove tool name. Right? And that should leave us without any tools. Yeah. And I shouldn't be able... if I do this... Yeah, I can't use hotkeys to change. Interestingly enough, whatever the last set tool is, works. Yeah, exactly, something like that. Yeah. And then maybe like a reminder after 20 puzzles or something. And then maybe like a Ko-fi donation at 10, and then like a reminder at 20, and then after 30, or like maybe after 50, it's like, hey, you really should be on the Patreon. You're using this all the time, right? I mean, it'll be better in the future when I have more information, like if I could tell how fast they've solved them, for example. Actually, I might be able to already. I have some timing information in the puzzle replay stuff. All right, so now I should also then be able to go for, and I think I can just do this, right? I don't need that. And then for tool in tool names. Let's simplify that. Now, here I can't just do add tool, right? I need to framework add tool. So we'll have add tool tools name. Like that's the reverse transformation we need to include here ourselves. So let's refresh this so we get a new set of controls. And if I do this and now space, oh, okay. So this is the stuff we need to figure out now. So for example, the color palettes get screwed up. Why does it switch us to the color palettes? That's interesting. I think what happens is the color tool is the last tool that gets removed. And when it's removing the color tool, it doesn't know what to do. So we'll probably want to actually... I was going to say remove them in reverse. We probably want to exclude normal from being removed. And maybe we don't want to actually let them set the order. So maybe normal is always going to be the first one. So we'll probably do something like this. Add tool normal. And then add the rest. So if I do this, would that work? No, because it doesn't switch to the tool. I'm basically, I want to work on making the app more configurable for a custom project. And there's going to be a lot of stuff, part of it. But right now I'm just doing some research on kind of manipulating the buttons and the tools and stuff. Because I have some API calls for it, but obviously they weren't designed for this kind of level of configurability. So they're all not really fit for purpose. So I got to figure out what the limitations are and what I need to fix. So for example, right now I just want to see, can I put the tools in a different order? And right now I realize, oh, it kind of sort of breaks. Also, it didn't add the normal tool here. Ah, because I didn't translate it. Okay, so I want to do this. Like that. By the way, how is the audio? Because I had some issues yesterday in a stream. And I think I was streaming with another person, and initially their audio was right, but then I was going through I was checking the stream, and their audio volume was changing a lot. And that's kind of sucky. All right, so you see it doesn't switch to the normal tool. Now that's the other thing. Do I want to be super smart and maintain a tool that's not being removed? What I could do is I could try to do a bit of a merge. So kind of go through the list and check if there's like where the matches and mismatches are. So set tools center. So I should do if tools names dot in or so let's say we include normal, right? I'm gonna force normal to be the first tool. I think that's okay to do. So so what I really want to do now is basically remove normal from it and then just re-add it at the beginning. So let's do this. And then dot index of normal. And we'll probably const these later. This is just a quick prototype. So that's one. So if I do dot splice, wait, let's just output these twice here. So if I do tool names dot splice index of 1, right? That'll do it. Nope. There we go. Let's make this smaller. We don't actually need to see the tools that well. We can do that. Get some more space in here. I can't even do this because I don't actually need the server side at the moment. All right, so that will remove normal. And if normal isn't in there, and this is, let's say, its color, what do we get then? -1, center. Okay, so that'll remove normal. And then we'll do dot push normal. And the point is that no matter what we're passing in there, it'll always end up unshift, I mean, with normal at the beginning of the array. Right? So we're passing in normal center. Center normal, we get normal center. We're passing in center color, we get normal. We'll get normal center. Did it remove the color? Ah, shoot. Is there an elegant way that I don't have to check what index of is? Can I just do JavaScript splice delete if element does not exist? The value from array if exist, or push it to array if not exist. Do I need to have an if statement? Yeah. Yeah, I do. All right. So let idx equals boom. But let's make a little function here. Const normalize tools. Let's do that. Tools index of normal. If idx not equals to -1, tools.splice idx. All right. Const, and then like const normal tool name normal. Boom. And we can do this. And we probably remove normal, because that doesn't make any bloody sense and nobody will know what it means, and it's something I should really purge from the code base. Is there a setting for pausing while rules are open? Pause on rules. Well, there's no need, because the pause dialog... Anyway, I'm responding to something on Discord. I shouldn't be doing that. So, tools, tool name, unshift, default tool names, and then return tool names. Return, boom, boom, right? So, tool names, normalize tools... Normalize tool names. Boom. And bada boom. And boom. Tool names is not defined. Tools, boom, 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 boom. What do we get? So from center normal, we get normal center. From center color, we get normal center color. Okay, that's exactly what we want. All right. I'm gonna stick with tools here. Do that. Tools equals normalize tools. Tools. We'll do that afterwards. And I'm just going to do that. And then we don't need these anymore. And we don't need that anymore. And now, yeah, clear. Boom. I'm going to try to make it a little bigger. I'm running out of screen real estate here. So it becomes normal center. Yeah, okay. So now what we want to do is we want to go through the list and see if we can do sort of swap in place stuff. The problem is I can't insert a tool. But the idea is that basically if we're changing the tool settings and the users on a particular tool, or is it okay to reset to the normal tool? Or I think what we should do is actually, we should check if the tool we're on is in the target list and then just go to that tool. Otherwise, go to normal, right? So if I go to framework.app.current tool, nope, .tool. So we can do that, right? We can do just let current tool equals boom. If so then what we can do is we can do this, remove, Then we can add tool in tools for tool in tools. Tools name add tool. Right? So if we do that, so now the tools will be messed up. So let's say if we refresh, I'm on the color tool. Actually, I'm on the, which ones are we adding? So if I do center, let's do the first one, right? So if I'm on the color tool and I do that one, we stay on the color tool, which we don't want to do. And in fact, we might want to switch to normal first. The only thing that might be a problem, then there might be a bunch of flashing. Oh, it was you in the other chat. All right. Yeah, feel free to ask in the video chat, because I don't like switching back, because people who are watching the video won't know what I'm on about. Yeah, I mean, I remember at the time, I think I was thinking about putting a setting in, but then I just added the rules to the pause dialog. So the dialogue stuff I need to clean up. It's a bit of a mess. There's a couple of things I need to clean up. All right, so what if we switch to normal tool? So I think if I go framework.app.set tool, no tool, blah 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 blah. Remove tool, add tool, tool.init as tool dot tool equals, where are we setting tool? Get tool name. That's the tool. Change tool. So if I do a change tool, so if we do a if I do const app equals framework, right, and then we can get rid of that, and oh no, not that. You know what? I'm not gonna do that right now. So if I do that, change tool, and then I'll just do default tool name like that, right? And then afterwards, we'll do if tools dot includes current tool. And actually, I want to output that as well. So if I do this, we're gonna change to that. And then I'll do, instead of this, I'm actually just gonna output that. And I'm gonna output that down here as well. So let's refresh. We're on the color tool. If I do this, we are still in the color tool. Why? Includes tools.includes current tool. Tools is normal center. Current tool is color. No, if it includes current tool, we change the current tool. Otherwise, we should be on the default tool. But that doesn't seem to have happened. So I think change tool happens later. Or it doesn't fire certain event handlers. So let's see, change tool, init, change tool, saved tool, get tool, tool. No, change tool should work. Change tool, corner, change tool, corner, as tool. If change tool gets undefined, I think it should default to default, right? So if I return here and I change tool to nothing, what will I get? So let's refresh, go to color tool, paste that. Yeah, I wish the code was smoother. The code is a little old now, and I haven't I've kind of tried to not make, like, I tend to write very structured code and very frameworky and very, you know, build my own engine, all this stuff. And with SudokuPad, I tried to be more professional and not fiddle too much with the code. And now, obviously, because I knew I was going to pay the price for it eventually, but, like, obviously, it's better to pay the price for running business than pay the price for nothing if nothing happens. Except now, I gotta pay the price, and I haven't had the time to do so. So it's a bit of a... Anyway. So... Change tool undefined false color. If change tool gets undefined, apparently as tool equals undefined. Change ref tool undefined. This tool this ref tool undefined. This ref tool get tool names. If tool is undefined. If tool names. It should get us to 0, right? Temp change is false. Color pref tool is undefined. If change, so that's not, if tool is undefined and this ref is not undefined. So let's us switch back to the previous tool, which isn't the case here. If tool is undefined and this tool is undefined, then get tool names. Ah, no. Okay. We also can do this as our replacement for the thing up there. Except I think get tool names only works on the currently installed tools, right? This.tool is tool. Get tool names. Framework.app.get tool names. Okay. I still don't know is why we... Alright. Let tool names equals this, and then we'll have that. And then I'm gonna output that. I guess I'll use this one. I'll output this and I'll output that, and then I'm not going to do anything else. I just want to see that. So if I do this, right, these are the tool names currently installed, and we can just presume the first one is... So we don't even have to... Yeah. So we'll just can do something like get default tool, and it's just the first one, like that, right? So then we can just say get default tools, get default tool, and that should just be normal, and it's not hard coded, which I prefer. Okay, so then we'll do that here. So instead of this, we'll just do const default tool. And then we'll do index can be a const as well. And we'll do that. Okay. So normalized tools are still gonna be whatever, right? Appreciate it, Lepus. Thank you. Yeah, it's kind of grown into a bit of a beast. I think there's currently at least 100 new puzzles, maybe more every day. And I really want to get better at organizing that. Let's actually have a look. I'm kind of tracking how the database grows. So let's say from... Let's take 12 o'clock on the 22nd. So we had 3,688 counter IDs at 12 o'clock on the 22nd. And then at 12 o'clock on the 23rd, we had, so that's exactly 24 hours later, right? We had this many. So that's 117 in 24 hours. That's quite a lot of puzzles. That's a lot of puzzles to play. So let's say if you play 10 puzzles a day, you basically would never have to look at the backlog, and you would still only need to play the top 10% of the best. All right. Of each day, obviously. Maybe the best puzzles don't happen all on the same day. So, where am I? So we have a default tool now. So we do want to. Okay, we weren't sure this change tool thing worked, right? So we want to do this default tool. And I'm starting to think this should all be in here. Like a closure like and all that. So if I do this, right? And then I can just say, I don't need to do that. I can just say const tools equals, that's fine. Then we can say tool names equals framework app get tool names. Boom. Default tool equals tool names 0. We don't have to do that. Don't have to do that. Normalize tools doesn't need to do this now. Right. That's really just a function just for organizational sakes. So we'll normalize it. We can now just output these here. We can just say tool names, default tool. We don't have to do that again. We don't have to do that again. Current tool can also be that. Right. So we have tool names, default tool, current tool. Probably put the tools here and then put these above like that. Now, if we change tool to default tool, what happens? So we're currently on the color tool, right? If I do this, we change. I think I ran the code while we were on the dialog. No, it still changes. Okay. Now, before it didn't change if I removed the tools and then re-added them. So I'm wondering if there's a timing thing happening. So the code that was removing the tools and then re-adding them back in seems to have short-circuited the change tool somehow. So if I do tool names here, and then I'll just do so we have tools, no, tool of tools, add tool, tools name. Now this should leave us on the default tool afterwards, but it doesn't. So it doesn't change to normal before all of this happens. And you see these are firing later, so there's some sort of event shenanigans happening. So the whole thing will have to be a bit async. The question is, can I change to that tool afterwards? So if I just run this again afterwards, will that work? Or will it still... It might still not work because... Yeah. Because basically we want to leave whatever tool we're on. Because, for example, in the case of the color tool and some other tools, like the letter tool, the buttons actually change. And we need to be able to let it run its event handlers before we remove the tool. And in fact, the add remove tool stuff should manage that correctly, but it doesn't. How much of this is in progress puzzles? When I set mine, I want... Well, basically, these are counter IDs. So people set their titles often to temporary stuff. So basically, I get around... So let's... Okay, so this was counter ID. Well, actually, let's do this. if I do lines 100. If I do this, log lines. Nope. Lines equals 100. Last 100 lines. That doesn't look right. Oh, because yeah, that's actually not useful. One second, I can find this out. I'm gonna use the scripts that I wrote to do this. So if I go to here, I need to run. Wait. I think I need to fetch db. So npm run fetch db first, because I think the puzzle script runs on that. So if I do this, and I'll do actually, let's just do this here, right? So the first number here are basically hashes on the puzzle data. So this is unique puzzle data. The second number is how many short IDs there are. So that's basically how many people create puzzles from the outside. And then the counter ID is basically how many unique setter and author and puzzle titles there are. Whoops. Okay, so let's compare. Let's try to do 2 days so we can get slightly more accurate numbers. Whoa. Nope. Where did my tab go here? Give me a console. That's all I want from you. I don't need a web page. So let's go from 12. I don't have 12 on. Let's go from 1 o'clock here. So let's do 1 o'clock on the 20th. And then we'll care about 1 o'clock on the 21st. And then we'll grab 1 o'clock on the 22nd. And maybe we'll have 1 o'clock on the 23rd. Yeah, here we go. So let's look at these. Oh. No. Stop it. All right. So that's 4 days, right? So let's say short ID. So that's this minus this. So that's over 4 days divided by 4, right? So we have 399 unique puzzles per day, right? So let's do this minus that divided by 4. We have slightly more short IDs. I thought it was going to be a lot more because there's some bugs and there's some reasons why sometimes short IDs get recreated. But that's actually almost the same number, so that's actually pretty good. When I looked at the numbers at the beginning, I thought it was almost like 50% more. All right, and 102 unique setter and puzzle titles per day, right? So the idea is that basically a lot of setters will not give them the final title because they don't want to bump the counters up during testing. So this would say on average there's 4 puzzles created for every puzzle published. Now, obviously, right now, I don't actually have a publishing mechanism. But I'm getting there. I'll go there eventually. And then I want to have a full life cycle. As a setter, I want you to be able to log in, press buttons, see your puzzles, have 10 versions of a puzzle, maybe a puzzle history, maybe different variants, you know, things like that. Feedback from setters per version, you know, you could maybe do an A/B test, say, hey, I tried this version and that version, which one do you like better, etc., right? And then eventually there's a version that gets published, etc., right? Storage per puzzle isn't too bad. The database is about 1 gigabyte. But that's like when it's sort of uncompressed. It's a bit of a pain in the ass for like synchronizing it, and I need to write a script now to actually synchronize my local version with the online version that doesn't download the whole database. The size wouldn't actually be a problem. It's just the SSH is it's slow over SSH. The backups are about 300 megabytes, I think, compressed. Let me see. SudokuPad, MongoDB. So this would be a puzzle, a database dump, for example. So it's 380 megabytes, and it's about 1.3 megabytes, 1.3 gigabytes. But the data itself isn't as big. It's just that the storage format, MongoDB, is very inefficient size-wise. So for example, if I look, and I'm also storing more data per puzzle right now. I'm storing basically not just the data that the app uses, but I'll also store the unpacked version of the JSON data, but as a string, so that's super inefficient, right? So so for example, the puzzle data would be here, which is however long it is, but then it'll also store like the data as JSON. It'll also store like a large hash. So, you know, so for example, for this, can we get some stats? So for example, this is sort of the main puzzle store, right? And it is, how big is it? It doesn't actually tell me. MongoDB size of collection. Total size. Mongo shell. Can I don't actually know if I have Mongo shell set up. Mongo sh. Maybe on the Windows. Mongo sh. cd program file cd mon cd. I wouldn't even know where it would be. Oh. I'm so confused if I'm on Windows or on Linux these days. Do I have Mongo Shell here? No. Mongo Shell on WSL. Installing MongoDB WSL. Mongo Shell. Install Mongo sh on Ubuntu. Mongo Shell. I think I'll probably have to install just MongoDB. Must run deployment connect to. Yeah. Learn how to run local MongoDB. Linux. Install the deb package Ubuntu. Can I have it as I think I might have 18 or 20. Don't even know. LSA. No. Windows. That's Windows. LSA dash. LSA. Ubuntu. LS. What's LS? It's LS version. How do I get my chicken Ubuntu? It's LS something. LSB. Oh. LSB. Sorry. Normal. Nah. Dash A. Here we go. Oh, we're on 22. Never mind. I updated. All right. So create blah blah blah. CTC. I shouldn't be doing this right now. You got me in an ADHD moment, I think. Sources.list.d. Okay. Are you sure about this? Because every time I do something like this, it messes everything up. Okay. Update it? Sure. Okay, I can install Mongo Shell. Oh, maybe not. GPG error. Welcome to Linux, where nothing ever quite works for no reason. GPG error mongo-org. This is latest version. This should be working. Repository not troubleshooter. Mongo.org. Yeah, invalid signature. So there's always something like that. Of course. Sudo apt. Didn't I do that? Ran into the problem, ran into the following error message. The solution was rather simple by re-importing the specific couplet key. Okay. Whoop. Okay. Can I do sudo update now? GPG error, no. Apt key is deprecated. Apt key is deprecated. Like, what does that mean? I don't use this command because I know what apt key does. I use it because in Linux you gotta copy and paste a million commands to do anything. All of the answers so far work are on the sim. Don't use apt key add, but fail to address the actual problem. Yeah, problem is under the question of pending key to pick key, blah 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 blah. I don't care about any of this. I don't even want to know any of this. GPG error MongoDB inverted signatures. So we were here. Apt. It's deprecated. Apt keys deprecated. Manage keyring files as trusted. GGG instead. See apt key blah blah blah. Following command in the terminal should include an entry that resembles the following: trusted. GPG. Yeah, we have that. That's what I'm working on. MongoDB apt key deprecated. Yeah, probably not. But like, I should be able to install a Mongo shell. Like, it shouldn't be this hard. Come on. Really, you know? That's the sort of thing that bugs me. Apt key. Is it apt key deprecated? Deprecated. Google, why do you take me on a page? Has like some commands to run installation that don't throw an error about upkeep being deprecated. I think we've done all of this. The thing is, I wanted it for 7. I don't want to go to the wrong version now. So let me just have a quick look. We were over here before, right? Catmon, boom. Right. So I think if I replace whatever is up here. Oh, geez. That's the other thing. Like, one of the reasons I stayed away from Linux for so long is just because I knew Windows so well. And with Linux, I don't know so well. So I'm doing things that I don't fully understand, and it's slowing me down. Now, is server 6.0... Does that make sense? Do I want to change that to 7? I feel like I do want to change that. I think this is... So we have dep signed by. Okay. So if I go here and then do this, jammy, org 7, multiverse, blah 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 7, and then I do these two. So and I hope I'm not showing something on stream that's gonna screw me. I don't want to do that here. I feel this is a special sacred place. So I'll do that in my home directory. Okay. 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 I have a feeling I'm doing that whole circumventing the issue rather than fixing it, but I don't care at the moment. And that's not what I wanted to install, actually. I wanted to install Mongo Shell. Because I don't want to have a conflict between MongoDB on Linux and on Windows. But I guess I don't have to run it. Hopefully. I don't even know what version I'm running on Windows either, so... Okay. Can I install Mongo Shell as well? Sudo apt auto remove. Manually installed foreign packages automatically installed and are no longer required. Is already the newest version. Yeah, so Mongo SH. Mongo SH. Hey, look at that. All right. Where were we? DB collection total size, right? So DB dot... DB. DB dot... DB dot puzzle. DB dot total size. Test dot puzzle not found. What? DB dot puzzle DB. Use puzzle. Okay. Total size. Not defined. DB dot puzzle. Ah, wait. DB is that. So DB dot puzzle info dot total size. Hey, there we go. What is this? 466 megabytes. Here we go. So, oh no, now I remember what we were doing. So if I take that, if I take 466 megabytes divided by that, and divided by, no, if I take 466, god damn it, let me just take that number and divide it by the number of puzzles. So 4.25 kilobytes on average per puzzle. There we go. So they're not big. That's yeah, don't worry. I know it looks like I'm wasting time, but you know what? That's all useful things for me to know. Like that's like the fact that I didn't even have Mongo shell running. I used to be really happy with using SQL via the shell, and I'm kind of regretting not just going SQL with this. I used to be very good with SQL, but I haven't touched SQL in a long time. So I thought, oh, let me go with the new kits, and especially since it's JSON, you know. Okay, so that means it should add an average of 50 kilobytes a day. And even if you double, triple, or multiply by 10, it's not really that big of a deal, right? I definitely want to add some mechanism, though, to archive puzzles. So, like, if there's a puzzle that nobody's played in, like, 6 months, maybe it'll go on a list, and then if nobody still plays it, then it'll get removed or something, you know? Alright, let's get back to the task at hand, which was... we decided we couldn't synchronously switch the tools. We had to async it, right? So the event handlers have time to run. So that means this has to be async, this has to be async, and then we'll have to await this. And then I don't know if await promise.resolve is synchronous or asynchronous. So if I do this, oh, what if I do this? What is that gonna look like? .023 what? Milliseconds, right? Tool names. Change tool. This happened. I think I'm gonna have to bring in my friend the sleep function. And I'm not gonna write it from scratch, even though it's just a one-liner. I'm gonna grab it from here. It's useful. Boom. Oh, wait, I think it's just available in, generally, right? So if I just say sleep 0 and do that, I don't think we even have to wait, right? Just, boom. Okay. Wait, it changed the tool. Wait a second. Something is weird here. It changed the tool. Let's go to the color tool, right? Now, if I run this code, we didn't change tool. Does that mean this isn't good enough? Because it should change to normal, right? So, framework.app.tool, before and after. So if I do that, right? We're on the color tool. Execute that. We go from color to normal. But are we on normal right now? Nope, that's not what I want to do. No, we're back on color. Ah, because it switches to the last tool that is added. And then if I change tool again... What? Wait. Promise.remove tool. You know what? We should just not remove the default tool. So if name equals default is not equal to default tool, then we'll do that. And then in the normalized thing, we'll just do that, right? So now we're in the color tool. Yeah. It will still not deal with the normal tool behaving badly, but I guess that's why we're switching to that. Well, that's why they wouldn't be deleted, they would be archived, right? But like, I don't think there's a need for it, you know. Hopefully by the time I get there, I'll have some sort of way of supporting the server, right? And like I said, they're not that big. What it could do is maybe just compact them, you know, like, for example, the decoded data, like a lot of the data that takes up the most space, we could just remove it and then recreate it, right? It's basically like a cache. So we can probably reduce the amount of the size of a puzzle that doesn't need to be delivered very quickly, right? But yeah, no, I'll never foresee a time where I'll have to completely remove a puzzle, like for technical reasons. That doesn't make any sense. I mean, there might be an issue in terms of like GDPR and so on. So if somebody, but like right now I have only anonymous puzzles. That's the problem. In the future, hopefully puzzles will be associated with accounts. And then I want to be able to honor somebody's request to remove a puzzle of their own. Like somebody might not like me and say, hey, I don't want your site to present puzzles, right? Even if they can hide the puzzle and make it unavailable to the public, they might not trust me and they might want to just remove the puzzle, right? And I want to be able to honor that. But maybe there'll be like an offline collection. Maybe like I'll do a monthly zip file with all the puzzles that are publicly available that people can download for their own archival purposes or whatever. Well, the thing is, I want to be able to add them in a different order. And one of the problems is that there's a bunch of events that are happening. And the way the tools are added in and hook into event handlers and hotkeys and stuff, I don't trust my knowledge of the mechanism at the moment enough to just manipulate it directly, like inserting a tool at a particular location. So I feel it's safer to just remove them all and then reinsert them in the order that I want, right? But it's a bit, you know, me just learning about the pitfalls and stuff. And that's why, for example, I need the async thing here, is to manage these events, right? Now the question is, after I've removed some tools, if I then run it again to re-add them, how does that look, right? Oh my god, the urge to single line this is so strong. I mean, it would be easy to do it with a map. And in this case, it actually might make more sense. There's no point being efficient, right? We'd basically do a map reduce, right? So we'll have to do tools.reduce Ac car. Ac. Ac. Car. Console.log. Reduce. Tools. So that should just replicate the array, right? So if I do this, we have that and that. And if I say equals car, then ac, else that, right? So, and if I say center normal corner, yeah, so that would be kind of the single line version. Skip to, so I do this. Then we can even pass in a different default. Right. Now we want to test if we can do it twice and it still works. So if I say then boop. Ah, wait. What if we do this afterwards? Because that should be changed now, right? Can do that before and after. So if I refresh that, go with that, and something somewhere. Probably here. Nope. I did something somewhere. There's a full stop here and here. Hey, babe. Syntax. Oh, god damn it. Where did I mess up? I always struggle with reduce syntax for some reason. It's such a useful tool, and I could use it so many times, but because I'm not like super fluent in it, I'm always hesitant because I make mistakes and that slows me down. Did I get two names, comma? And of course, the thanks to JavaScript's sloppiness. Oh. It finds it very hard to tell me where the problem is. Alright, so normal center corner, normal corner center corner, no, center normal. Yeah, so it skips the normal, but it has the default tool in there at the start. And now I want to be able to go back in and put these back in there. Let's put that up here. Actually, no, let's not do that. Let's not confuse myself. Let's just put the normal order back and see if we end up with the original. So we have normal, corner, center, and then color. And I'll make it actually a little longer because I actually want to be able to see the change. So now that I'm testing that after I've changed it to a custom configuration, will it blow up if I go back to the original configuration? Custom configuration, 2, 3, 4, original configuration. Now if I stay on color, actually let's stay on corner because the custom configuration includes corner. So I wanted to actually stay on corner. It didn't. Because I changed tool to default tool. If I change tool to current tool, right? So let's refresh. Let's go on the corner. We'll do this. We stay on the corner. And we're still on corner. All right. Now, if we go on color, we should end up on normal. And obviously, we stay on normal because it doesn't have memory from the previous call. Okay. So that is one way of configuring this. Now, yeah. So one of the cases for the applications of this is for teaching kids with very simple puzzles initially that just don't have any corner marks, right? Or color, or not to confuse them with additional tools, right? Now, what I need to make sure is that they can't mess things up by using hotkeys. Yeah, so the hotkeys don't work because this doesn't just change the buttons, it changes hotkeys, right? So as far as the app is concerned, those tools just don't exist in its code. It's not like it's just removing labels from a string somewhere, right? And that's exactly what we want. And I'm okay with leaving the buttons configured like that because we kind of want to be able, like, I don't want to change the UI too much and have things bounce around. Because I'm foreseeing that we might want to be able to add the buttons in during a puzzle. So like as you're teaching, like, and this is something else I want to work on, is I want to have a sort of an interactive mode where it can animate and point things out on the, like illustrations and things like that, like a teaching mode, where it can put in information, show a little dialogues, you know, that kind of thing. Even animate things, you know, move something. And that might be a place where we want to add the tool halfway through a puzzle. So it's like, okay, now, as you can see in this row, and then it highlights the row, you know, you can only blah, blah, blah. So let's mark that with center marks. To do center marks, we're going to add the new center mark tool. And then boom, button pops up, you know, maybe a little animation to draw attention to it. And then we continue, right? So this is a good, first of all, it shows me that I can do it without changes to the core. Like I can just do it from the outside. And it's not, I'm not doing anything too, what's the word? I'm not doing anything too illegal here, right? The tools list is the only thing that's a little problematic because obviously, a missing deck. So the tools list is obviously, because right now I'm kind of presuming that tools can be external code, sort of kind of like mods or plugins. Like the pen tool is completely separate. But we obviously need to include that in this if we want to make them part of the system. But that's not too much of a problem at the moment. And in the future, I actually want to modify the system completely so that the tools that are in the system are accessible from within the system. So I need to be able to extract this list from the running application, which currently doesn't. And that's as simple as just caching the data or keeping references to them. The other thing I want to be able to do is manipulate the other buttons. And they should be relatively simple as well, because I think Framework actually has the tooling in place. So I think under app, not app settings, it might be controls, tools. I think controls the other thing. Controls app. So these are the 4 buttons at the bottom. Those might not be although no undo mode. I mean, I think those are. I'm just thinking, is it okay to have these be purely visual, or do I also want to be able to strip the hotkeys for those? So for example, right now, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, control, control, control C, control C, control Y, right? So that's undo, redo. So can I, by calling something like maybe remove aux buttons, does that exist? Remove, add aux button, add control button. So I think it's just basically doing this, add control button. So I think I can just do this. Remove control button. But this does not deal with the hotkeys. Yeah, so the hotkeys for those things are hard-coded. We'll you know, I can definitely add something if we think that's necessary to kind of remove and that's the other thing, right? I want to be able to have proper key binding. So this might be also the opportunity to work on that, like have a complete separate hotkey binding system And then obviously it'll be as simple as just changing the key bindings, right? I just want to test this. So if I say remove control button, app, controls, app. So if I say remove control button, undo. So if we say remove control button, undo, the button disappears, but I'm guessing control C, yeah. So control C will still work because I'm pretty sure that's completely hard-coded in here. Let's see, dot undo. Yeah, so that's, yeah, you see, so there's currently no, there's no separate layer for handling the hotkeys and such. Which is a bit annoying because there's a little bit of complexity to it as well. Because you see, it's not just do one thing, right? Although a lot of it is. Yeah, but like there should be a function that says select left, select right, select up, select down, things like that. But I can do that. Those are wrappers I can do. And it's definitely worthwhile doing. It's just right now the code is a little messy, so I'm loath to try to pull individual things out because that can potentially steamroll into making a lot of changes all over the place. But I mean, like the multi-select button, I don't think this button, does that have hotkeys? I don't think it does. It should, but it probably maybe doesn't. Select. Don't even know how to search for that because the string select is obviously the action. I think this might actually be a custom handler somewhere here. So I think for the aux keys, there is a separate handler. It'll be useful to know. Let's have a look at that. Ciao, guys. So, there is somewhere, and I don't think it's actually using this class. I think this is a subclass from the rest of the buttons. So this whole area, like all these buttons are handled somewhere. So if I go undo, right? No, if I go find dot undo here. There is, I think, a sort of generic event. Maybe not. Or maybe it's on framework. Like the X, Z, X, etc. buttons. Find key press. No, key down. If I do this. Right. So if I control Z. So this doesn't actually fire here. This is only used during the dialogue stuff. Okay. All right. Let's actually get rid of that change. 3, 4, 6, 9. Find key. Yeah, key down, handle key down, handle key down. Let's just put a warning here so we get a stack trace. Although I think stack traces for events are not super useful. Control Z. But this is the hard-coded part. Ah, wait, what if I do V? Handle key down V. So this is where it looks through the hotkeys. For the tools at least, there's a little bit of hotkey handling. Pass through print hotkey. Pass through print hotkey. What? But it's using pause. Why did I say print? Maybe I meant pause? Ah, for control P. Oh, I see. Okay. Alright. I thought there was a generic handling. Also, this button is kind of special because it's a toggle button. What the heck? I don't remember how I made it. And this was a relatively late addition. Select. And I'm searching the wrong place, and that's why I'm not finding anything. There we go. Okay, alright, alright. Ah, wait. Includes action time, render, selection cage. Ah, no. The problem is because it's overlapping with the action called select, so the word select is all over the place. Tool select. Is it this? Where is tool select getting added? Tool select. Tool select.tool.init. Tool select. Tool select. The tool select init. Alright, let's have a look at these. And okay, I think that might be it. So if I toggle this key, handle toggle is being run. The question is this being run generically? And it doesn't give me a stack trace. God damn it. Handle toggle. And I think that could be super generic on framework side. So on framework, we'll have toggle. Create toggle, setting toggle, toggle element, handle, make tool toggler, toggle setting, on toggle, toggle setting, toggle, 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 toggle. Ah, wait, if I search for alphanumeric, make toggler. I don't think I need handle toggle. I think the handle is done automatically. Ah, wait, is it just doing its own thing here? Am I overthinking this? Yes, I am overthinking this. Handle update keys, add down event controls and a handle toggle. Control. Okay, so here, okay, this is kind of what I was looking for. Because I was wondering if there was a generic, like a global handler that says, okay, any button in the control that is a button of type control or whatever, run it through this stuff and I'll find what you need to do. But this tool is actually very custom, very specific, and it does its own thing. And then undo, redo are also completely custom in the sense that they were done originally long before any of the APIs and plugin systems existed. And the check tool the same. So that leaves our auxiliary tools. And those I think we might be able to manipulate. It's controls app. No. Let's make sure I don't have any changes in here that I don't want to have in here. Let's discard changes here. Discard changes here. So now we're looking at these buttons up here, the auxiliary buttons. And I think there is something, app menu, app, controls tools, controls apps. Not these. Here, aux button. No, not those. Here, these guys. App buttons. All right. I came up with another different word of saying something very similar. App, but button. App button. Add app buttons. Right. So it's just another kind of control button. Okay. Okay. And I think when we're adding these, we don't actually add any additional handlers like we do with the tools, right? Yeah, we don't add the tools to the app, yada, yada, yada. Okay, it's a bad API. I built it a long time ago. Oh, yeah, everything should be attracted, but, you know. Yep. The thing is, that one of the reasons I haven't done it yet is because it's not as simple as that, because the current code deals with a lot of browser bullshit. So it's never just a smooth mapping. And there's a lot of interference because hotkeys are overloaded to hell and back. You know, for example, you want to be able to control Z to undo, but you also want to be control Z to put a corner mark Z into a cell, right? So that makes it a little bit, if the same key combination has to do different things, it needs to be context aware. And how do you encode that into just, you know, you can't encode that just into a plain mapping, right? And in fact, or things like, you know, I have like if I press shift, whoops, leave me alone, or control, these are temporary hotkeys for temporary tool toggles. And the, oh my god, this on the Windows pressing shift a lot is annoying. And tools can actually configure that behavior. So that's actually already handled, right? But like that's like one of the many custom special things it does, right? So I have to be a bit careful how I do that. And I have to be very deliberate about it, right? Because it's a large file with a lot of code that's custom made to deal with certain specific things. And refactoring just one aspect of it always ends up with having to refactor all of it. So I can't justify doing that, right? So I need to find a way of doing it in a very laser focused way. Anyway. And it's going to be time consuming. It's never going to be just quick, right? It's not going to be something I'll do quickly before doing something small. It's going to be a major, huge thing that I have to do only if it serves something big, right? All right. I should be able to just remove these buttons then just by their name. So let's see. So for example, if I do framework.remove control button restart, right? And I don't think that even has a hotkey. In fact, none of these have hotkeys, right? Yeah. So then the next question is, can I get the names of these? Well, I don't really need to, because right now they are hard-coded, so I can just... But I can technically, right? Because I know there are these. So if I do document dot query, nope, query selector all dot controls app, what do I get? I get that, but what do I really want? I want the buttons inside of this. Right, so I want to do that button dot map. That's not gonna work, right? Yeah, but through the magic of silly JavaScript, something like this will work. Dot map ID D. Replace controls dash. Without the S. There we go. So that gets us the list of control buttons, of which there are 4 right now, but if I refresh, there should be 5, and it should still work and give me 5. Like that. All right. So the same way we tested set tool, we now want to have something like const set controls. Now set controls I have to be a bit careful also because I don't have a flexible framework layouting system right now. And obviously, one of the reasons to remove them would be to have a different layout. So hiding them without using that space in another way doesn't make a lot of sense, right? But right now, we're just going to do a little discovery and refamiliarizing myself with stuff that I haven't touched in a long time, right? So if I do something like that, const current is that, right? And then I can do something like, I'm gonna put that here at the top. And then we're gonna put that here. Like that. Now controls, I can't do internal mapping, so it'll work a little differently. I'll have to actually pass controls in. But we can try this, right? We do console.log current. Yeah, it's big old code bases. To be fair, I think it's a little bit more editable than PenPub because I started thinking about this about halfway through. So there are a lot of sort of hook points, but not enough, right? So like JavaScript, for example, once an event handler is set, unless you have a reference, it's very hard to remove it and so on. So I've started putting things like that in like 2 years ago or something, or even some of it even from the start. So for example, the pen tool has very little engine support. The multi-page color tool, I think, had none. I think all of that was done outside of the engine. So the engine has gotten more flexible in that regard. Yeah, but like, for example, the lowest level of the rendering that actually puts features into the cell is not completely pluggable yet. Like, I want to make that. I want to be able to do something like the pen tool completely outside of the engine, right? So then somebody could easily add a feature like, I don't know, like animated stuff, for example. Like, I want to be able to do that without having to modify the engine. In the moment, you would have to, right? I mean, okay, the fact that the render layer is SVG, like, I've done some hacky stuff where I'm kind of from the outside. Yeah, for example, the emoji system that replaces characters with emojis does that, and it's actually causing some bugs because it manipulates the DOM, and then other things that have references to the DOM kind of break. There's a couple of bugs related to that, but it's a little niche. Okay, so if I do set controls nada, we want to be able to kind of do this, right? We're like, we have a current list of controls, and then we'll kind of want to do this with a remove, which I did here earlier, which I wish I had kept. Here we go. So, off car, and in this case, we don't care about the this, and there's no event handlers or anything, so I don't think we need to worry about that. Although it could also mean that it's just because there are no event handlers, things don't manage themselves. And even the layouting actually updates. That's interesting. I wonder if I need to call resize afterwards. Framework.app.resize. I might have to, but it seems to resize. No, I think that's just CSS stuff, dumb stuff. I don't think it'll update the size of the buttons. Wait. Yeah, it just shifts it up. There's just enough space. Okay. Now, adding them back in is going to be a little tricky. So we basically kind of need this. And this is basically analogous to this tool constant up here. So if I say app, I don't want to call those app controls equals this. And it's basically these guys. With names. Pretty little names. And I think I'm gonna, make that as one-liner for now. I just pressed some button and it did things, and I'm worried. I think the names we need are basically these. Right. So I think we can just do settings as that. Full screen is that. Rules is that. And I think they might have the names in them. Yeah, they do. So I think we can just do that. We don't actually need the names. Because we can extract them if we need them. So we can just do this. Right. And then we can do something like this. Dot map. Name. And somewhere up here I did something without spacing. That's gonna drill my brain. Oh, no. No need to save that. No need to do that. Let me change that. Don't pause and start. So, these are our app controls. So we should be able to re-add them if we want to. Can we remove more than one? Remove, add, remove control, add buttons. No, so for the adding I had plural support. For the removing, not so much. So for example, add tool probably has an add tools. No, it doesn't. It's the one that doesn't. Okay, never mind. All right. So, so if I insert an empty array here. Okay, wait a second. We can try this, right? So imagine we want just the refresh button, for example, right? So we'll pass the refresh in, and now that we have this, we should be able to map them back. So we should be able to say controls like this, right? And then controls dot map like this. App controls dot find name n equals name, right? That'll do it, I think. No. App controls dot find. Each control has a name. Refresh is not the word. Restart is the word. So refresh just doesn't exist. Okay. Restart. There we go. And then we should be able to just add those back in, right? So then we should be able to do for name of controls. We don't even need to do the mapping here. You can do the mapping there. No, we do, because we can use the pluralistic version here. So we can just do this, and we'll just do controls.map. We don't even have to do a loop. So this should change those 5 buttons into just a refresh button. There we go, and it should still work. Nope, that monkey testing failed. And if I do nope, it doesn't work. God damn it. Why does it not work? Why does it not work? Create info only. Restart. If I do this, it doesn't work. Add buttons. For each, add control button. Add control button. Console.warn. Ops. And does this return true? Is that why why that happens. I have a suspicion that it might. Has control button false? No, 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 no. Okay. So then we'll create a button element. Right. Then we are in here, I think. We'll check type of on-click. Okay. If I do this now, undefined on-click function, app.onControl. So this actually this is the event handler that I was looking for earlier. Trigger control. So app info handle button console.warn trigger this. Right. And then this in turn should fire that, which in turn should fire that. Okay. So if I rerun this, and now I click this. I think what happens is that this event handler, handle button, was added here. Refresh controls. That's probably what we want. Framework.app. Yay, look at that. PastMe has handled this already. So I knew in the past that just changing a button won't actually magically make event handlers work. So if I do this, and now I press this, it works. So we probably should do that here as well, even though I think it's not strictly necessary at this point. All right, I think I put in some panic logging, which we can now remove again. Even this, yes. And that should work fairly reliably. Let's try a different order. So for example, restart and settings. So if I do this, those two should just work. Settings and restart, yes. And then I should be able to do the same, sleep 3000, and then go back to the original. So the original order and the original button. So setting, and they might not all work, and it's probably okay because we probably don't actually need to manipulate them these as much, or I'll just fix the code, you know, like the rules and info stuff. It feels a bit unfinished, and we might want to use those buttons for other things, or just get rid of them, or have different buttons there. All right, so this should change it to something like this, which should work, and then after 3 seconds it should go back, and all of this should work as usual. Yes. Okay, so that I think means those two things work. So that's a good start. Now, again, these buttons at the bottom, like the multi-select button really only makes sense for touch, and I don't know if you wanna, if you need the option to kind of simplify the interface completely. I mean, we can easily hide the buttons. If we want to manipulate the hotkeys as well, we will need additional support from the engine, right? Like if you want to disable undo completely. That would actually be interesting to have no undo for like fog puzzles in lieu of guessing. But I don't know, personally I'm not a big fan of this sort of stuff, but being able to configure the client to support it for like a challenge mode or something like that, that would be interesting. So it's definitely something that as I'm working on it, I'll see if that's something I can easily support. I mean, the error checker hiding, I think the error checker doesn't have a hotkey. I don't think it does. If I look at the check button, app.check, yeah, it just executes .check. And app.check is called a couple of different places, probably like for automatically checking after each move, etc., etc. Puzzle.check. Checker.check. I don't... maybe I'm overestimating where it's being used. So that's the check button. It's being used in the conflict checker. Sure. For automatic checking. There's no hotkey for checking. That's interesting. Because it just happens automatically anyway, so we never needed a hotkey. Interesting. But for example, that's the sort of thing I would add to key bindings, just out of completeness. And somebody might not want auto-checking, but wants to be able to press, I don't know, C or whatever, I don't know, some key to check. Like, it might suit somebody's style, right? Now, the other request I've had... there was a request from Ransk. Let me see. So there's so he uses custom layouts for his streams, and I've been wanting to have the layout system rebuilt for a long time, but every time I try, I waste a day, and then I remember how freaking complex it is, and there's some bollocks happening, and then I give up. But what he's asking for, I think, is more specific. So he's shown me a before and after, and I think I can put this up. So that would be, I think, the before. So that's kind of what the layout would look right now, and then this is what he would like to open it. What he would like to see. So the grid centered and the controls left aligned. And in theory, you'd think that'd be easy. But like I said, the layout system is not simple. Now the question is, can I do this from the outside, manipulating things with event handlers? I.e., every time a resize happens, let the layout system do its thing and then change it. Or, I mean, let's take it one step at a time, right? So let's start with just moving the rules to the top, because I can definitely see value in that for other things as well. And the rules text in this area is overdue for changes and customization, right? So let's see how far this goes. Is it just controls info? Yeah. So can we do something, let's say, just using CSS, for example? So if I say document dot query selector dot, what was it? Controls dot dash info, I believe. You know what? I could just try it from here, right? So what if I say position absolute, right 1 rem, top 1 rem, absolute. This doesn't do anything. Why? Oh, because it's relative to something in here which is already positioned, yada yada. I mean, the easiest thing would be to literally take the element out of that area, but that might mess with other event handlers, I think. Is there a way? CSS position absolute relative to window. Static maybe? Static. But that's, I think, just... Problem is, the scaling, but we kind of still want the scaling. I mean, the other thing we could do is we could apply a transform that counteracts these transforms. So we have the controls here. Let me try something. So what if we apply an event handler, right? So document dot add event listener resize. The problem with resize is we don't know if it happens before or after. But that might be okay. We might just have to wait 0, right? And then that would guarantee... Let me do this on a new page. And that might just then guarantee resize. Document dot add event listener. Find resize. Window. Okay. Window. So if I do this, and then resize, what about handle resize? Does handle resize? Handle resize might trigger its own error. Error? No, its own event. Does resize triggers a resize? Maybe we can use that. What if I do this? If I do this, app.resize args, I think I can just have that in here. I don't think it's a problem. So if we do this, refresh that in there, reselect on document. Yeah, that's fine. So if I now resize, that fires. And if I force resize, so if I say framework.app.resize, so if we clear that, oh, excuse me. Ooh, that itch took its time coming up. Okay. And then if I resize, we'll get that. We don't get any arguments. All right, that's fine. But that might mean we can now pull some data of things. So, const handle resize. And it's just going to look like that, right? There's no arcs coming in. And we don't actually need that, right? And I think we can be a bit wasteful on our DOM interactions here, because resize isn't meant to run very often. And I think I'm already debouncing it and throttling it and all that. So controls-info. That's there. That, sure, I can't type worth anything. All right. So let's see. Const declaration. Wait. Too many arrows. So We got that. And we should be able to say parent. Parent element. Why is parent its own thing? No. What? What? Wait, what? Wait. Resize happens twice? Alright, wait. So we can say CIEL and COEL, and we'll make that something different. Boom, boom. Like that. Make that a const. Got a const. That's gonna be hash controls. And we'll output that and that. Nope. That. And we're gonna add that. And then we're gonna do that again. Excuse me, my nose is... My stream allergy is kicking in. Controls dash info controls ID. So the controls ID should get us that transform. CSS get transform by JavaScript. I think I have this code somewhere to extract a transform. I just don't want to just have to do it again. Translate. Get transform. Parse transform. Get computer.transform. So if I do get computed style dot transform, what do I get? We get the matrix. Do we want the matrix? Gives us a scale and translate. That's not too bad, actually. That's not too bad. I think that might be a relatively safe way to get that stuff out of there. So we can do a match of matrix, open brace, backslash D, full stop. Some of those, right? I don't even care if that's from the beginning or not. I think I don't care, right? We'll do that. And then in the end, we'll do that. I don't know if that matrix will always have the same number of elements. Anyway, some white space, right? We have 5 of these, but we don't care about most of them. Let's just put them in there. We don't care about this one or this one. And then we'll care about these two, and we don't want that in the end, and we want to be resilient to white space at the beginning. The other way to do it would be to just split by commas and trim. But I think we can try this too. Alright. What we get? Well, I'm not too surprised. Too many. Too many. Null. Let's output that as well so I can review. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where did I go wrong? If I added a bunch of stuff in. Let's see if any of that was a problem. Okay. That far it works. Does it work for those without commas? Oop. And without the braces? No. Ah, maybe it does. Maybe it does. So we've got... Oh, we've got one of those. Oh, wait. This can be on either side. So one of those... 2, 3... Which are just zeros? Right. To be honest, if I'm gonna skip anyways, I'm just gonna do not commas, right? Right. And we want to skip 2 of those. 3 of those. And then we want to grab another number. Like this. And we got the 11. And now we want to grab the 100. And we get the 100. Okay. And then we are done with this. Why didn't that work before? What? Ah, maybe I did 1 to few. 1, 2, 3. Ah, I did 1 to few, didn't I? All right. Anyway, that'll do the trick. And we can probably just do this. And then just do dot slice 1. There we go. And then we can just do map parse float. And that should work. Because I think get computed styles is quite consistent with its output. And then we'll just do something like const or let scale x y equal. Oh, no. There. There. And then we'll do something like console.log if I can type x, y scale. And that should give us that. And now we know that this is moving it down by that much. So we should be able to do something like this. Dot trans dot style. Let's output that. Dot style. Is style an object? It is an object, isn't it? Can I get CSS text out of it? Yeah. Cool. So we don't need these. So I can do something like this. And then style.transform equals transform x minus, or accurately, I don't think I need px here, right? Transform y negative y. Is that gonna work? I don't remember if I need px. I don't know if I need units. ci.style dot transform. Am I misspelling transform here? Am I misspelling transform? Transform. Oh, translate, geesh. Translate y. Cool. Nope. Translate y minus 10. Nope. What did I just type? Transform. Translate y minus 10. It needs units. Okay. It's weird how it can give you without units as a computed value and then force it doesn't work with the anyway. So now, hey, look at that. Doesn't that look a little bit like what Ranks needs? Okay. So we can potentially do it from the outside until we get to here. And that, I guess, we just revisit the same thing, but on a different level. So board has its own something, right? Top. We're gonna have to do some math on that. All right, but I think we're on the right path here. BO. Board. All right. Let us not worry about this for now. Boom. Boom. Let's look at this. So if I do this, we'll get that. Right. And if I do our little get computed style here for this element, that'll give us a bunch of stuff, right? Yeah. We're gonna have to break that down. So we definitely want the transform. But we might transform here. We also might want left, top, width, and height. And now I'm wondering if I don't have a something that gets me all this. I might have something. Maybe game bounds? Bounds. Board element bounds. Is bounds a globally available function? So if I say document.query selector hash board and I do this, is that... The problem is that in which coordinate system? Because we're dealing with a scaled system, right? So let's see. Scale 0753, height is 60. So this is the absolute stuff. So we'd have to unmultiply it by the transform. Now, are we inside that transform? No. So we might want to do it that way. So if I do let board bounds equals bounds or BO element, right? And then I'll just say board bounds is whatever, like this. So we are concerned about the Y value at the moment. What did I just copy? I just copied the whole thing, right? So when I resize, this should re-execute. So board bounds dot Y now here We don't need that. We probably might need that. So we have y is 51 and matrix is something, right? Now I want a value that doesn't change until the thing moves on the y. Okay, so board bounds y seems to be the value. Now the problem with that is that inside or outside of the my brain inside or outside of the transform scales, yada yada yada. Here we basically eliminated this distance, but at this point we're still inside the board's element. Now if I remove that, because it starts out at 51, right? Well, let's just try it out, right? So if we run all of that, so it's now stuck to the top, but it comes down. And the value we're interested here is this. So if I remove that, so if I just say la da 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 minus that, if I do that, it's scale dependent. Okay, so we don't want the stuff inside the scale. Right. Okay, let's make a little helper function. Extract get transform el, and we'll just kind of do this thing here, right? So we can just do that, and then we can just return that, and it'll give us nicely labeled things, right? And then we can just do el here. That can be a constant. We can compactify that just a tiny bit. Right? And then we can say can say this equals get transform COEL. We don't need all of that. And we want to do the same thing here. So we're gonna do get transform whatever, but for BO. Right. Let's see what those look like. So BO, undefined, 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 undefined. Wait a second. What? What? What you say? Why does it not give me scale for that? That's interesting. That's interesting. Let's return here. Reduce the spamminess. Actually, let's just do this as a one-liner. We want to do this. We want to get computed style on that. Don't even want to do this in here. We want to do this down here. And then we want to do dot transform. Negative symbols. All right. Cool. All right. Fixable. I said fixable. You know what? I think we can use this here. We don't have to be so picky. We'll just do that and do it here too. And do it here too. And what do we get? Ah! We said white space followed by not comma followed by white space. What? Why does that? Because I'm returning here and I'm not actually doing any of it. Wait a second. No, but it did it. It did it and returned gibberish, right? What am I breaking here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's do a return here. Let's actually do this earlier. Like here. And let's do what we did earlier and fix this regex. I'm gonna refresh because I don't know if I'm spamming myself with the previous event handler. And let's skip that part. Regular expressions are the solution and the problem, generally speaking. So if I do this and I say, okay, we have... I forgot the frickin' asterisk on the first one. Now I understand why Bushy, a YouTuber I watch, swears so much. There we go. All right. So if I refresh that and do that, so we get that. Which means what exactly? So, y minus 304, and then here it's still minus 304. Is it because something above this element is getting changed? Yeah, because we're not using the so we still need the top and height thing. Okay. All right, let's go back to here. Clear that out. Put that in there. Let me see if anybody's on Twitch. Twitch's been so quiet today. I think Twitch is all about the games. They come here when I play Elden Ring. They don't show up when I'm doing hard work. All right. So this is our top and height. And I'm including the height here because I think it's relative to the center line. So this is actually 259 plus 608 or whatever. So this is going to bounce up and down until we reach a certain scale. Actually, it's changed here as well. And then it does that. So we might have to... wait a second. What about bounds on this box? maybe we don't need to look at that box at all. Maybe we don't care where the other stuff is. So let's get rid of that. And let's do bounds of this thing. CO element, the control element, right? Let's clear that out so we don't have double. Ooh. Board bounds. Yeah, let's not do that at the moment. So let's just do that. So now I can see my own bounds. And here, the top, Y. It doesn't quite. Oh yeah, it looks like it's moving down, but in reality, it's keeping a fixed spacing here, I think. It's just that, like a little bit over a cursor. A little bit over a cursor. It's just, it looks like it's a different spacing because the spacing around this shrinks. Okay. Now, what if we remove the bounds value, right? So what if I, instead of doing this, I'll just say bounds.y. Bounds.y. The problem is that is not, that doesn't have the scale change applied, right? Yeah. So the moment we're scaling, we are back in trouble. Because the bounds are outside of scale. But what if I then multiply it by scale? Or probably divide, because the scale here is goes down, right? So if I divide it by scale, and I do this, so now we're stuck to the top of the screen, which is kind of what we want. Okay, and then the toolbar is the fixed height. Which we then need to re-inverse it by the scale, right? Hey. So if I say something like Hey, Poochie Boy, welcome back. Toby's just back, so that's my sign to wind the stream down. If I give CO top a value of, let's say, 50, then adding CO top plus CO top times scale, that should get us back, should get us to that position, which is the bottom of the toolbar, until, so we have another scale then. All right. Okay, so we have two scales that we need to worry about. We have this one and that one. So the first one is the board. The second one is the controls. And I think we need to combine them because... No, wait. The controls are not inside the board, are they? They are... So, one sec. So we have the controls here. In fact, the controls don't have a transform at all. Controls info. Sorry, controls do have a transform. But they're not inside the board. Wait, what's going on? So when we're scaling down like that... So at this point, let me clear that. At this point, our scale is 0.88, and that works. But if we're going down, our scale... So the moment we hit 0.88, we're good. Actually, yeah, exactly. But the moment our scale changes, we're actually scaling that spacing as well. Is that what we want? CO top times scale. Are we dealing with a nested scale, or is the computed transform giving us the full picture here? Because the board is scaling differently, but we're not inside the board. So what the board does shouldn't affect us, right? Except it does. But why? Is it because of the way the board pushes everything down? Ah, I'm confused. Do we need the board scale here? All right, let's call them BT, whatever. Const board transform equals that. And controls transform is this one. All right. Then we're just gonna do BT and CT. All right, and then we're gonna get rid of that. And then this is BT.scale, and this is CT.scale. Right? That makes sense? I hope I don't have to combine them. I think I might have to. Do we have to do both? Times BT.scale. I think the problem is that the way the board scale affects it is not a strict multiplication, because it's via CSS, right? It's because of the scale of the space it creates. There's no BY. What are you talking about? There's no BY anywhere in this code. BY is not defined. There is no BY. What are you talking about? What BY? Oh, because the event handler is already running. All right, so we have to do something else here. Okay. If I take the board top, so that's obviously not the trick here. We have a fixed top here. That's not really what we need. We need a dynamic top that we need to subtract when things aren't the way we want them to be. All right. Bounce y minus divided by bt. No, ct.scale, right? If I do this, it'll do that. Wait. Yeah. Wait, why is this now operating like that? So why can't I just add our fixed 50% there? Now, oh, was it maybe because I had two event handlers running on top of each other before? No. Or do I want to divide that? Wait a second. Yeah. All right, so the toolbar is actually 40 pixels. So our origin is actually a fixed 40. So if I do this, it should always be touching the toolbar. Now, if we want a margin that's relative to the board size, then we'll have to add that in. So we have to say plus, so we can say CO margin equals 10, for example, right? So we can do CO margin, but now we need to divide it by the other scale. So it's not CT, it's BT.scale. Because that margin, we want it to scale as the board gets smaller or bigger. Except maybe it's the other way around. When in doubt, try both. Except the margin, I think, is supposed to be 64, right? So if I do this 64 now, and then we'll run that. I think I might have to multiply it and then divide. So I might have to do this. And now, I feel like I'm just guessing again. Ah, okay. Yeah, I don't think it's 64. I think it's a quarter of that. Because 64 is basically the nominal size of a cell within the scaling system. And I think the margin is a quarter of a cell. Or is it a half cell? Yeah, it's a half cell. So if we do this, now the top of that should always be aligned with the top of the puzzle. Or at least it should be that far away. And as you see, it's in line. So I think that's what we want. And I think that looks pretty close to this thing. Now, he might not care about that. But I think for now, that's actually a good step. Right. Let's get rid of all of this. And now I'm thinking, kind of need to do the same thing for the right side. But we might want to do that for the entire control panel there. So if I look at this, controls, left 617 top. Now the problem is controls, but game is. So if I say document.query select document dot selector dot hash controls. I just want to check before I do crazy math stuff. I want to see if I can just manipulate the CSS, right? What if I say dot right equals 0? Right, and then it scales with what? It scales with what? Right. It hits it here. Okay. So I think because of the scaling, we're once again better off doing it dynamically. So we basically want a translate Y now. I think we're not using this. So we can say let Y equals this. And then this is just going to be Y. Boom. Just make sure that's still working. Okay. Now we kind of want to do the same thing with X. So X now needs to be something. And I think we can do translate XY as well, right? So we can do a transform, translate XY. Yeah, so that will just be translate XY. I think the X comes first. X.
Just needs to be warmed up to the microwave.
Okay. All right. 5 minutes. X. X. Oh, my brain just got flushed. What do I need to align this by? So the left is determined by the size of the board. One second. If I... Let's do this for a sec. And we'll do dot left equals auto. So if I do this for now, right? What does the left do? Okay, and if I say right equals 0, does that do? It's there. How? Why is that right 0? Oh, because we're looking not at the parent here. We're looking at just controls info. If we look at controls, scale left, top. So if I disable left here, if I disable left and then say right 0, okay. So if I say CO left and right, except that'll, well, it moves the whole thing, which is kind of what I want actually. Then we'll do this, and then it'll do that. The problem is I can't say right. I can't say 0 times scale. So we now have an issue with the board width. No, the width of what? Of the parent. Game width. But our scale is 0.4. X translate is 9 pixels. Wait, what? Transform translate scale. If we change scale to 1, it'll be on the right. 0.4. How? So the whole thing gets zoomed inwards. So we have to move it over. Ah. We need to know the size of our container, which is game. And then we multiply that into our translated space. So we need the game element, GA, game, right? And then game, get transform game. Do we want the no, because game isn't being transformed, right? We just need the bounds. GAL. On window pair is not of type element. Is it not hash game? Oh, it's a class. Super consistency, great. All right. Okay. Because it doesn't have a transform. What about bounds? Bounds X, Y, width, height. So if we take the width, of that equals dot width times See, control scale, right? And then let's not do any of those in addition. I'll just get confusing. That's not it. Ah, wait, maybe that. That's not it either. Can I take a look at it at least? Translate. No, not you. You. Divided by, it gets too large. X equals. Well. Yeah, it's not this guy here. This one, we want to do this. It's the other guy. CO, which currently, well, this is still 0. And then this will be X. We want to move the control panel, not just the info box. Now it's gone. It's gone. It's out of here. Translate X is that. Times. Well, it'll always be too big because we don't want the whole thing, right? We want this minus like our size, so minus like 100 or whatever. So if I look at controls here, 644, and there we go. Rip. Why is it? Oh, because we're overriding the entire transform. Bah! We don't want to do that. We'll have to disassemble the transform and then reassemble it with this additional. Okay. Unless we'll put it somewhere else, like co.el.style. Margin left, maybe? Kind of like that. So if I do this, oops, and then move that, it's not dynamic, or at least it's not at the right scale. Right, let's try it. Nah. All right, I need more time to figure this out. Anyway, I feel like I've done some progress today. So we figured out how to hide some of these buttons. I figured out some aspects of manipulating the layout without rebuilding the layout system right now. That's a future project when I'm rich and leisureful. Anyway, it's a good start. A lot of this is also me just diving back in and kind of figuring out some of this old code, because this is some of the earliest code I've written, so I'm not super familiar with it anymore. And it's doing some funky stuff, so it doesn't always operate in the most obvious ways. Anyway, thank you very much to David Miller, Rockred Zero, Lapis on the Moon, and Missing Deck for hanging out with me here today. I think, yeah, that was just you guys. Appreciate it. Makes me feel less alone doing all this stuff on my own here at home. For 3 years, 4 years, who knows? Anyway, take care. See you in the next one. Have a good rest of your day.